I'm life and business coach Samantha Siffring, and this is the Badass Mother Podcast, where we talk inspiration and real life tips to rewrite the rules of motherhood and build a life you love while raising kids. Hello, mamas. Welcome to episode 78, the Badass Mother Podcast. I am super excited to be with you today and to be recording episode 78. That is awesome. I am also recording on a weekend, getting ready to go to Seattle this week, doing more of that sorority volunteering. And I just knew trying to record this podcast from a sorority house during recruitment would not be a good idea. So I am doing it the day before I leave. And it's so funny because that decision and what led up to it is totally in line with today's topic. So today I'm talking about the fifth and final key to making full-time income from home as a mom. I think that this is the most important one. It is self-discipline, which is also known in my mind, at least, as focus and follow through. This is the one that I see people have the most struggle with out of all of the 5 keys. I have a lot of women come to me who want there to be easy tips and tricks or a productivity tool that they haven't discovered yet. We think that we're just one of those people who just needs external accountability. There's even a whole book around motivation and habits and all of that. The 4 tendencies, which people talk to me about all the time. And while I think, yes, those are the 4 tendencies, it doesn't mean that you can't grow and change. So you've got the way that you're wired, from birth or from childhood programming, from both. And then there's always that opportunity to grow and develop new skills and become a new person. I think with all of the personality tests out there, as much as I enjoy them and think they're super fun, I think that they can also really hold you back because you say, well, this is just how I am. And then you don't even have the opportunity to grow. You've totally taken that away from yourself. So this idea of self-discipline and focusing and following through is probably the number one reason that clients come to me. This is the thing that most people struggle with when they're building a business. And I think without this one, none of the others matter at all. You could have the biggest vision, a large audience, a really clear idea, but if you aren't following through with any of it and staying focused, you're going to get nowhere and you're going to make nothing. Your ability to do things you know you need to do when you don't really feel like it will determine the amount of success you achieve. I want to say that again so it can really sink in because this is a really important concept. Your ability to do things you know you need to do when you don't really feel like it will determine the amount of success you achieve. So thinking about your business, thinking about knowing what your plan is, knowing what you need to do, and then thinking about those times when you really don't feel like it, being able to do those things anyway is going to determine whether you hit your goals or not. I always like to define success as hitting the meaningful goals you set for yourself. I have a lot of clients who hear me say success and they're like, I reject that. And I'm like, success is whatever you make it, right? Like a lot of us have some baggage around that word That word can really trigger a lot of people. But anytime you feel triggered by a word, and of course there's exceptions, but I think there's a lot in the online business world like hustle and success and all of that can really trigger us. I always like to think about how to reclaim that word and think of it in my own way. So for me, success is not about a McMansion or a Lamborghini or a private jet or whatever. Success is hitting the meaningful goals you set for yourself. So for me, $5,000 months, hitting that was totally a success. That was a major, major goal that I had for myself. Actually, even $4,000 because making $50,000 in a year was a major goal for me. So 4,000, 5,000, 8,000 was a huge, huge goal for me because I knew that was going to be the building block to $100,000 year. 10,000 was a major goal for me. 100,000 a year was a major goal for me. Hitting all of those things, even 2,000, honestly, like when I was first starting out, all of those, they all felt like success to me because those were all meaningful goals that I had set for myself and hit. So when you think about success, think about what are the meaningful goals that you set for yourself, and then know that the recipe to getting there is doing the things you know you need to do, following through on that plan, even when you don't feel like it. So let's talk a little bit about why you struggle with this. Hopefully, everybody's on board now with why this is important, but let's talk about why we struggle with it. And I want to give a little warning that if you do struggle with this, it's truly not a lack of knowing how to do it. You have the plan and you just literally do it. And I know that that's not helpful to hear, but this is totally the embodiment of I know what I need to do. I just need to do it, right? And first, I want to talk about why we struggle with this. So I think first we've got this idea that we shouldn't have to do things that we don't want to do. So this is really funny. I see this in one of my children, and I'm just going to let them be anonymous. But one of them, anytime it's time to clean up, will like moan and groan and like flop around and say it's boring and they don't want to do it. And it's so funny because I see this in the online business space and I see it in myself, but I see like the adult form of this everywhere, right? Like I think we all as parents are like telling our kids, we don't clean because we necessarily want to do it. Like we like the after effects and it's not about doing things that we want to do. Like probably nobody wants to scrub a toilet, right? But like we all want to have a clean toilet. And we have this like concept with our kids that like, hey bud, it's not about wanting to do it or not. Like we just have to do it. But I think all of us have this idea that now that we're adults, we should only do things that we want to do. And this is a totally entitled thought. So we have this idea that we should just only do the things that we want to do, and that also our business should just be paying us as much as we want it to. So if we only want to put in like the amount of effort that we would put into a hobby, because hobbies are fun, right? And we just do hobbies for fun. We want to put in that hobby effort, but we want to be paid like it's a full-time business. Like we're totally in, we're totally invested. This is super important to us. We want that level of payment, but we don't want that level of effort. And this is absolutely something that I struggled with when I was in prior businesses, when I was first starting my coaching business. This is such a normal thing. It's just how our brains are wired. I think a lot of us, when we hear like self-discipline and entitled, we can feel very triggered, like, I'm not like that, or like, really our judgment is those things are bad and I'm not bad. And I want you to really let go of that judgment. It's not that feeling that way is bad. This is how our brains are wired. Our brains are looking for the most efficient, easiest way to hit our goals. So they're telling us, like, don't put effort into this. So let's come back to this idea that we shouldn't have to do the things that we don't want to do. This thought is entitled because literally nowhere were we guaranteed in life that we would not have to do things that we didn't want to do. But I think way more people would be successful in their business ventures if they just realized this at a really deep level, that we have this idea that we shouldn't have to do things that we don't want to do, but doing things we don't want to do is the key to success. In this online business space that we're in, especially with the female entrepreneurs, is where I'm seeing this. We have this very strong anti-hustle mentality. This mentality is good-ish, but this mentality is telling us that we should only do things that are aligned, that feel like ease and flow. And yes, I am all about designing a business that plays to your strengths. But the real truth is that some elements of a successful business may not come naturally to you. You are not going to feel amazing all the time. And if you did, you would not be growing and you would not be leaving the comfort zone. A lot of us get very confused about what it actually looks like to do the work to hit our goals and how much work it actually takes. This is something that my coach would say all the time. And I didn't get it until I actually did it and then realized, like, yes, this definitely takes more work than I thought. And not necessarily even in a bad way, right? Like, I'm not talking about like hustle till your eyes bleed and work 100 hours a week or anything like that. But when I put this series out there, I did see a lot of comments about, oh, good, we all want to make full-time income with part-time work. And I never said part-time work. And I know that I've said that in another episode of this, but I wanted to come back to this idea that full-time income, it takes work. And sometimes work feels like work, right? And that's okay. I think it's worth it. If you don't, that's fine. I definitely think it's worth it. So you know that I love mindset, but I want to be really clear that mindset for me is about getting you into the right action, getting you into the right space to take the right action, not sitting on the couch, envisioning buckets of money flocking to you without taking any kind of action. It is about getting into the right action by getting into the right headspace. So let's talk about what self-discipline might look like. I have some examples here from my business, from my client's business, and I think you'll get really clear about what this might look like for you. Self-discipline is sitting down and doing your podcast on a Saturday afternoon because you know you'll be out of town Monday and won't be able to record. That is me right now. Self-discipline is not checking your emails or social media in between client sessions and instead coaching yourself so you can have a clear mind when you show up for that next client. This is something I just started doing a few weeks ago. It is amazing when I am disciplined and do it. Totally worth it. Self-discipline is putting your phone in the other room if you know you'll be tempted to scroll Instagram while you're working. Self-discipline is using things like do not disturb on your computer or on your phone so distractions don't pop up while you're working. Self-discipline is pressing that go live button when you're trying to rationalize not pressing it. I know that happens to all of us. It happened to me the other day, and I just pressed it and went live because I knew I had an idea I wanted to share. Self-discipline is showing up day after day to meet people, build relationships, talk about what you do, and make offers day after day. Love that. I have a client who for a while had set a goal to talk to 3 people a day about what she did. She got a lot of clients. I've had other clients where we've been chatting and they've been like, yeah, I totally talk to people. And then it comes out that it's just been like 3 a week or 3 a month, something like that, where it's clearly not enough. Self-discipline is being willing to keep going even when you aren't getting instant results. Self-discipline is focusing on the plan you've chosen for your business even when shiny object syndrome comes up. So good. That one's so good. Self-discipline is choosing to stay in your belief instead of slipping back into the default of doubt. This one is the one that I'm working on most these days. Choosing to stay in belief that I can hit the next goal I've set for myself instead of slipping back into my habit of thinking self-doubt kind of thoughts. We all have those kinds of thoughts. Our brain is wired like a habit to think them, and it is a choice to shift out of those and stay in belief, get back into belief. I could keep going with tons of examples, but I think that you get the point. What self-discipline really looks like varies from person to person, but I can say that it's like the least sexy thing in all of our businesses. I know, if you are feeling that way, I totally get it. And I also get that it doesn't come easily to most of us. But here's what you need to know. It is the most important muscle that you can build. My clients who build it for business find that they are seeing effects in other areas of their lives. They're losing weight easily. They're working out regularly. They're managing their time better outside of working hours. They're being more present with their families. And they are more productive than they have ever been before. It's amazing to see the trickle effect of building this muscle of self-discipline in your business and what the ripple is in all of the other areas of your life. If this is something you haven't yet mastered, building your business is going to be much harder than it needs to be. This muscle is how I went from making $1,000 a month to consistently making over $10,000 a month. That still boggles my mind, by the way. I'm like, wait a minute, that's cool. It's how I became a 6-figure business owner. And it's how I keep growing. It is how I'm going to get to multiple 6 figures, $1 million, and everything else that I envision for myself. It really is the key. And it's one of the biggest breakthroughs that my clients have while we are working together. If you are ready to have more self-discipline this week, we need to talk. Together, we're going to talk about how it's showing up as a problem for you and how it's holding you back from your goals. Sometimes it holds you back from even setting goals. Then we're going to identify exactly what steps you need to take to grow it, develop it, and use it as your biggest asset to reach your goals. It's really all about having a very simple plan and then developing the muscle to see that plan through until you get your results. And this can happen pretty quick once you nail it. Imagine making plans that you will follow through with every time. Think how many of you make plans and you're like, yeah, I'm definitely not going to do that. Imagine if you made the plan and knew like this is as good as done. Imagine setting goals and knowing that you are going to hit them no matter how impossible they might seem in that moment. This is another thing, right? Where you set a goal and there's a voice inside that's like, yeah, not going to happen. But imagine if even in setting the goal, even if you were thinking, ooh, can I really do this? The other part of you knows, yeah, I'm totally going to do this because I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Mama, I know you are ready for this, and it all starts with booking a call. You can do that right now at bit.ly/callsamantha, bit.ly/CALLSAMANTHA. You can find that link in the show notes, and I am excited to work with you on this breakthrough. Okay, I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I will talk to you back here next week.